I've been a paramedic in Albuquerque, New Mexico for nearly 5 years. I've seen a lot in that time. Crashes, overdoses, shootings. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened to me last summer. It changed everything I thought I understood about life and death. My name is Daniel. I'm 29 years old, and it started with an accident. Not someone else's, mine. We were responding to a late-night call on Interstate 40, a multi-car pileup just outside the city. I was in the back of the ambulance prepping gear, and my partner, Leah, was driving. Out of nowhere, a semi-truck lost control on the icy highway. It slammed into us at over 60 miles an hour. I remember the sound first. Metal folding in on itself. Glass exploding. Then nothing. No pain. No sound. Just blackness. But I wasn't unconscious. I was somewhere. I remember floating. Not like flying, but being weightless and calm in warm water. All around me was this strange gray mist, soft and endless. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, but I didn't feel fear. Not at first. Then I heard it. A voice. No, a whisper. Right behind me. Right next to my ear. You're not supposed to be here. I turned, without moving. Like my mind turned, not my body. There was something behind me. A figure. Tall, thin, and wrong. Its limbs were slightly too long. Its face is featureless. No eyes. No mouth. Just smooth, pale skin. Still, I wasn't scared. Not until it leaned in and whispered again. Clearer this time. Go back. Before they take notice. Then everything went cold. And I mean freezing. That warmth? Gone in an instant. The mist began to swirl violently, like smoke in reverse, and I saw more of them. Dozens. Standing still. Facing me. Like mannequins lining up for a show. In a way that I can't explain, I knew they weren't human. That they wanted me to stay. That I shouldn't have seen them. Then, I felt it. A jolt. Pain exploded through my chest. And I woke up on a stretcher, soaked in blood. Leah screaming over me. Paramedics working on my chest. I had flatlined for nearly 3 minutes. I should have died. But I didn't. At first, I chalked it up to trauma, hallucination, near-death brain chemistry. But then things started to happen. Small things. The first night I got home from the hospital, my hallway light flickered 3 times when I stepped inside. No big deal, right? But it kept happening. Always 3 times. Always when I was alone. Then came the shadows. I'd be brushing my teeth and see someone standing in the reflection behind me. Gone when I turned. Footsteps at night. Doors unlocking themselves. And the whispers. You weren't supposed to come back. I tried ignoring it. Told myself it was PTSD, stress, anything. But one night, I came home and found muddy footprints leading from my front door to my bedroom. Human footprints, but barefoot. I live alone. I checked every inch of the apartment. Nothing. No one. Except my bedroom closet was wide open. Inside was a note. Old, yellowed paper with a single sentence. They see you now. I quit my job after that. Leah told me I needed therapy. I agreed. I started seeing Dr. Marcus, a psychiatrist who'd worked with trauma victims and veterans. I told him everything. The accident, the whispers, the shadows. He didn't laugh. He didn't roll his eyes. Instead, he leaned back in his chair and asked, "Have you ever heard of threshold syndrome?" I hadn't. He explained it like this. There are some near-death experiences where people don't fully come back. They bring something with them. Or worse, they're noticed by things from the other side. Sometimes, he said, It's like shining a light into a dark room. You might not see anything, but something might see you. I stopped sleeping after that. About 2 weeks later, I got a call from Leah. She'd started experiencing things too. Whispers in her house, cold air pockets, a shadowy figure standing by her window at night. She'd been there when I died. She was there when I came back. They saw her too. We agreed to meet at her place. Safety in numbers, right? That night, we tried to act normal. We had pizza, watched dumb TV, and tried to laugh about it. But the air in her apartment felt heavy, like being watched by something that hated you. Around midnight, the power went out. Pitch black. Then the whispering started. All around us. We couldn't see anything, but we could feel them. Moving. Closer. I grabbed Leah's hand and yelled, "Run!" We bolted out the door, no shoes, no coats, into the freezing night. We didn't stop running until we reached the gas station a mile away. The clerk looked at us like we were crazy, but we stayed there until sunrise. That was 6 months ago. I moved cities, new number, new apartment, new life. But the shadows followed. They're quieter now, less active. But every so often, I still wake up to cold air and a faint whisper. You're on borrowed time. I haven't heard from Leah since last month. Her last message just said, "Don't answer knocks after midnight, no matter what voice you hear." I know how crazy this sounds, but if you've ever been close to death, really close, maybe you understand. Sometimes when you die, you don't come back alone. Before we dive into the next story, if you're here for the first time, please consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell icon so you won't miss any of our upcoming stories. Your support truly encourages us and helps this channel continue to grow. And don't forget to share these stories with your friends and family. Thank you. My name's Jordan Wells. I'm 31 and work as a night security guard at a private art museum in Denver, Colorado. Quiet job, mostly. Long hours, but peaceful. Perfect for someone who enjoys solitude. I spend most nights doing rounds, checking cameras, and sipping bad coffee under dim fluorescent lights. Nothing about my life was inspiring until last winter, when I died. Just for a minute. But it was enough to change everything. It happened on an icy January night. I was on shift as usual. Around 3 a.m., I was walking down the lower-level storage hallway, where they keep the rarely displayed art, when I slipped on a patch of water near the boiler room. The next thing I knew, I hit the back of my head, really hard, and everything went black. I was found unconscious almost an hour later by a maintenance guy doing an early round. They said I'd stopped breathing. EMTs had to revive me. Technically, my heart stopped for nearly 90 seconds. That was enough to be pronounced clinically dead. When I woke up in the hospital, there was a ringing in my ears and a pounding headache. But something else was off. I couldn't put it into words at first. Everything felt heavy. Thicker, somehow. Like the air itself had weight. And then the real weirdness began. I took a week off to recover. And after I came back to work, things started happening. At first it was subtle. Shadows moving where they shouldn't. A feeling of being watched. Lights flickering more often than usual. One night, I saw something on the cameras. In the east corridor, where no one ever goes after midnight, I saw a figure walk by, just outside the frame. I rewound the footage. Nothing. It was never recorded. But I know what I saw. Then, it got worse. 3 nights later, I was sitting at the security desk when the monitor on Cam 7 glitched. The screen went staticky for a few seconds, then cleared. A man was standing in front of a painting, not moving, just staring. The thing is, that wing was locked, had been all night. I radioed maintenance, thinking maybe someone had snuck in. No one answered. I decided to check it out myself. As I walked through the halls, I felt something building, like pressure in my chest. The air was cold, not just chilly, freezing. My breath fogged up. When I reached the east corridor, the lights overhead were dimmer than usual, flickering faintly. I reached the painting. It was a piece called The Weeping Saint, an old religious oil painting with dark, stormy tones. The figure was gone. No man, no sound, just the painting staring back at me. But there were footprints on the marble floor, bare, human, leading away from the frame and vanishing into nothing. Over the next few nights, the voices started. Faint at first, like whispers just beyond hearing. Sometimes they call my name. Sometimes just laugh. One night, while I was in the break room making coffee, I heard footsteps run past the door. Quick, barefoot. I ran out, thinking it was a prank. But the hallway was empty. Except there were wet footprints again. Bare, leading toward the stairwell. I followed them down to the basement. Storage rooms filled with sculptures and unused crates. A crate had been dragged out, opened at the far end of the hall. The statue inside, a Greek marble figure, was missing its head. And there, in the dark, I saw him again. That exact figure from the camera, standing in the corner, watching. Only this time I could see his face. Or, instead, I couldn't. It was blurred, like a motion blur in real life. My eyes couldn't focus on him. He didn't move, just stared. I ran. I don't remember how I got back upstairs. That night, I dreamt of the moment I died. But this time, I was outside my body, watching myself lying there, still and broken, on the floor of the museum hallway. And behind me, behind both versions of me, was that same faceless man. He leaned down, whispered something I couldn't hear, then looked up, right at me. Not the body. Me. I woke up screaming. The next day, I went to visit an old friend of mine, Gabby, a hospice nurse who'd seen her fair share of death. I told her everything. She looked at me like she didn't want to believe me. Then she said something that sent chills down my spine. Sometimes, when people come back, they don't come back alone. She told me stories of patients who'd flatlined and were revived, only to experience the unexplainable afterward. Shadows, figures, whispers. They don't always stay on the other side, she said. Some follow you back. After that, things got worse fast. Lights would go out randomly in specific parts of the museum. Objects would be moved, paintings were tilted, and sculptures were turned the wrong way. Then, one night, I saw myself on the monitor. On cam 4, I stood in the hallway near the front gallery. Only, I was still sitting at the desk. I checked all the other monitors, but the hallway was empty on the rest. Cam 4 glitched again. When it came back, the figure was gone. It was a Thursday. Snow was falling outside. The building felt unusually silent. Around 2:30 a.m., I began my rounds. As I passed the main lobby, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. No one. I kept walking into the sculpture wing. That's when the power went out. Total darkness. Only the emergency exit signs glowed dimly red. I pulled out my flashlight and swung it around. Something moved. Quick. To my left. I spun, heart racing. Nothing. Then the light flickered on again, and I wasn't alone. The man was back, standing between two sculptures. His head was tilted slightly. And this time, he spoke. You shouldn't have come back. His voice was like 1,000 whispers at once. I dropped my flashlight. When it hit the ground, it flickered and died. total blackness again. I ran, tripped, crawled. I don't remember how I made it out, but I never returned to the museum after that night. I quit my job, moved out of Denver. I tried to live a normal life again, but something stayed with me. Some nights, I hear footsteps in my hallway. Sometimes, the power in my apartment flickers, only when I walk past mirrors. And once, I woke up to find wet footprints leading from my bedroom window to the foot of my bed. I checked the locks. They were still shut. I don't know what I brought back with me when I died that night. I don't know what it wants. But I know it remembers me. And I know it's still watching. So if you ever die and come back, pray that you come back alone. I work as an outdoor survival instructor in northern Wisconsin and am relatively healthy. I've always had this quiet confidence that I could handle anything life throws at me. But nothing prepared me for what happened last winter. I'm Ethan, I'm 29, and it started with what was supposed to be a relaxing weekend at Lake Winoka, a remote glacial lake tucked deep in the woods, about 3 hours from town. My friend Seth invited a few of us to his family's old cabin, a place we hadn't visited since college. He said the lake had frozen over, and we could do some ice fishing, drink, catch up, and disconnect for a while. There were 5 of us: Seth, me, our friend Nick, who brought his girlfriend Carla, and James, the quiet guy who'd recently come back from working overseas. We hadn't been together in the same room in years, so spending a weekend off the grid sounded perfect. We got to the cabin just before dusk. Snow lined the narrow road leading up to the place, and the tall pines surrounding the lake made it feel like a little lost world. The lake was vast and perfectly still, frozen solid under a thin sheet of white. The cabin had no Wi-Fi, signal, or electricity, just a generator rattling like it was from another era. Inside, it was cozy. Wood walls, a brick fireplace, and a dusty collection of old board games from the 90s. We cooked up some chili, had drinks, and told stories, the usual. But I'll skip ahead, because none of that matters now. The next morning, we went out onto the frozen lake. The cold was biting, and the ice looked deceptively thin in certain spots, but Seth swore it was solid. It's been frozen for weeks. I checked the depth myself, Seth said, hammering a hole through the ice with a spud bar. He was right. It held. We spent most of that day outside, bundled in layers, standing around our little ice holes like cavemen, watching for fish. But the sky began to darken quicker than we expected, and the air suddenly turned from biting to bitter. That's when we decided to call it a day. Except, I dropped my phone. It slipped out of my coat pocket when I crouched to grab a tackle box. I watched slowly as it bounced once, then slid across the slick surface toward a cluster of thin-looking ice about 15 feet away. I was an idiot. I didn't even hesitate. I jogged after it, ignoring Seth yelling, "Ethan, wait!" I reached the phone just as it hit a patch of duller ice. I bent down to grab it. Then everything happened at once. A loud crack, a shiver under my boots. Then the ice gave way. I plunged straight into the lake. I remember the shock of the water hitting my skin. It was like being punched in the chest by a truck. The cold was so complete that it knocked the air out of me. The hole above me was small, a jagged circle of white light that quickly became darker as I thrashed. My limbs locked up almost immediately. It was like my body had forgotten how to move. The cold swallowed every thought, every instinct. I couldn't tell which way was up. I remember seeing shadows under the ice, like movement, but I couldn't process what I was looking at. Then it got quiet. I remember that clearly. The panic faded. The struggle stopped. And for a second I felt okay. Peaceful. Like I could let go. That's when I saw him. A man. Underwater. He was right in front of me. His face pale, his eyes wide and glassy, hair floating around his head like black seaweed. His arms were outstretched, as if he wanted to grab me. He didn't blink, didn't move, just hovered in the water, staring. Then his mouth opened, and I swear I heard his voice, not in my ears, but in my head. Let me go. You have to let me go. They pulled me out seconds later. Nick had tied a rope to his waist and dove in after me. He saved my life. I came to the snowy shore, coughing up water and gasping for air, my whole body trembling like I'd been hit with 1,000 volts. But I didn't say a word about what I saw. Not then. Because how do you explain something like that? I didn't talk about the man I saw under the ice. Not to Nick, not to Seth, not to anyone. We left the lake that afternoon. Seth said I needed to get warm, maybe even go to a hospital. But I insisted I was fine. I just didn't want to be near that place anymore. The silence in the trees and the lake felt off. It felt like it was still watching me. For the next few days, I tried to shake the experience off. Told myself it was a hallucination, a result of oxygen deprivation, the cold, near-death trauma. But the image of that man, his pale face, those dead eyes, stayed with me like frostbite in my mind. And then the dreams started. Every night, I'd find myself back under the ice, not falling, not drowning, waking up there, surrounded by black water, with no hole to climb out of. I'd feel the pressure building in my chest, the weight of the lake above me, and then I'd see him. That same man, always there, always staring, and always whispering. Let me go. But sometimes the dream changed. Sometimes I was the one staring back. One morning, I woke up with my pillow soaked, not with sweat, but water. My clothes were damp, my hands were ice cold. At first I thought maybe I sleepwalked, maybe spilled something in my sleep. But then things got worse. A week after the trip, I returned to teaching a winter survival course in the woods just west of Baraboo. It was a small group, just 5 people. But on the second day, one of my students, a woman named Dana, asked me something odd. Did you go for a swim last night? I frowned. What do you mean? I woke up to use the bathroom. I saw someone walking out of the trees near the lake. Thought it might be you, but I figured it was just a dream. I hadn't left my tent. I knew that for sure. But later, I found footprints outside. Bare ones, leading toward the frozen lake and disappearing at the edge. I didn't sleep that night. Back in town, I did some digging. I asked Seth again about the cabin, its history, the lake. At first, he brushed it off. It's just a lake, dude. But after I pressed him, he admitted something strange. Okay, there was this guy back in the 80s, local fisherman. He went missing out there one winter. They found his gear, even his gloves, but not his body. The ice was too thick. Locals say he never left the lake. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I knew who I saw. But what kept gnawing at me? Why me? Why did he speak to me? Why was I still seeing him? That night, I made a mistake. I decided to try something, anything, to stop the dreams. I went back to the lake. It was a full moon. The sky was clear, and the snow glowed under the stars. I stood at the edge of the frozen lake, staring at the spot where I'd fallen through. And I spoke out loud. I don't know who you are. I don't know why you're stuck here. But I saw you. I heard you. And I need you to let me go now. The wind picked up, brushing the trees with a low whistle. Nothing happened at first. But then, the ice cracked. Just once. Not enough to break, but enough to echo across the lake like a warning. And then came the voice again. Not in my ears, but in my mind. You came back. I turned and ran. The dream stopped after that. I haven't gone near the water since. I haven't led another winter course. I moved out of my apartment and got rid of anything that reminded me of that place. But sometimes, just before I fall asleep, I still hear it. A faint voice, beneath everything. Not begging this time, inviting. And sometimes, when I pass a mirror, just for a second, I swear I don't recognize the reflection. The face is mine, but the eyes, they're still underwater. They said I was lucky to survive. But some nights, when everything's quiet, I wonder if the real me drowned that day. And what came out of the lake is just wearing my skin.